Hey friends, welcome back. I know this plant does not look the healthiest, but this is exactly what we want it to look like when we get ready to harvest. And these guys are peanuts. And if you would have asked me the first time I ever saw peanuts get harvested or grown, I'd have thought you were trying to pull my leg or something. It's the same thing with pineapples. Whenever you see pineapples grown, you're like, is that really how they're grown? Well, peanuts are the same. Whenever you think of nuts, you kind of think of like tree nuts, like almonds or walnuts. Peanuts are grown quite differently. They do not grow in a tree. They actually grow in a plant, and they actually burrow underground. They're technically part of the legume family, not necessarily the tree nut family. So they grow quite differently, and it's so weird to see them grow. But I've been growing them a couple years in my garden. Last year I grew them. I didn't get the largest peanut harvest because I didn't start them at the appropriate time, which, by the way, here in Florida, that's going to be like your anywhere from March to June at the latest. I got these guys in May, so they have been growing now for 5 months. Peanuts need between 4 and 6 months. Lean more into the 6 month than the 4 months. The 4, you're going to get a much smaller peanut, not necessarily desired. That's what I did last year. So once I got them planted, I planted them an inch deep. I plant them in their shells. So last year I did an experiment where I planted them in their shells and out of their shells to see which ones germinated better. And the ones in the shells germinated better for me, although I've heard other people have different experiences. So I might test that in the years to come again, just to see if I get the same result every time. Sometimes you don't have a choice in this, right? Because if you buy seeds, like these are a Tennessee Valencia peanut, and when I got them from the Urban Harvest, they came without the seed or without the shell around them, and I had to plant them without it, and I had a really poor germination rate then. But when I harvested my own, I saved it, dried it, kept it in its shell, and then planted it with the shell. So if you have an option, I think in the shell works, but if you don't have an option, soak them overnight. Hopefully that will help them germinate. Now, once I got them germinated, that was it. Honestly, these have got to be one of the easiest plants. And you know, I say that about a lot of the summer plants, and I think that surprises some people because it's so hard to grow things here in Florida in the summer. But if you pick specific plants, peanuts being one of them, they grow without any help whatsoever. So I did not fertilize these. I did not treat them for pests. I mean, they have been chewed up, spit out, like they have been put through the ringer here. All the heat. This is a full sun bed. It gets no shade ever in my garden. So they absolutely love the full sun. They love the heat. They don't care about the pests, the bugs. And because they're part of the legume family, which is like the bean and peas family, they don't need any nutrition. Like I did, if you were with us when we planted our summer crops, I did plant it with an inoculant, a bean inoculant. And that helps because if you've never grown beans, peas, or peanuts in a bed before, anything in the legume family, there's a natural bacteria that it needs to convert the nitrogen in the air into nitrogen, or nitrogen in the soil into nitrogen that the plant can use. If that bacteria does not exist in your beds from previous plantings or previous use of inoculant, then it may struggle. When it's young, it'll turn like yellow and it'll start to die off, and it doesn't really matter how much fertilizer you give it, it just always kind of limps along, and it's because it's waiting for that bacteria to show up. Now, eventually the bacteria will show up naturally on its own, but it takes a little while. That's why we use inoculant, especially when done in a new bed or a new area where you're growing beans or peas. So I did that. That was the only thing. But today's the day. It's been 5 months. We're gonna get these harvested, and I want to show you close up what it looks like when you harvest these, because it is, once again, so weird, not what I expected. If you want to help support the channel, make sure to pick up my ebook, Homegrown Florida Gardening Guide. It's on my website, homegrownfloridagarden.com. 30 chapters. Each chapter has a different vegetable showing you how to grow it here in Florida. It's meant for North, Central, and South Florida. So this covers the whole state. So I want to get in here super close so that I can show you the little spikes. So here this is actually a really good example right here. Right down here, the plant will flower, and when it flowers, it produces these things, which are like little spikes. And then the spikes dig down into the ground. Now, not all of mine dug down into the ground properly because it was at the edge of my raised bed here, but these little spikes are where the little peanuts grow. Isn't that cool? Typically these fall underground, but I have a few that couldn't make it over the edge of this bed right here, so they kind of just, they were originally like this, and I kind of threw them in the bed in hopes that maybe they might get bigger. I don't know if they're gonna get bigger, but you can see some of them are actually popping out of the ground, like right here. Oh, somebody stole that. That's probably a squirrel. But if we look around for more spikes, you'll see all the spikes down here. And if I lift this plant up, there's our peanuts. Look at them. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. So I don't really know where to start. I don't know if I can just pull it up. Never done this. I mean, usually when I do it, like last year, I just pulled the whole plant, but it wasn't as dense as this plant is. So I don't know. Let's just try pulling one up by hand. And if that works out well and we don't lose too many peanuts, then we could do it that way. I'm just gonna go real gentle, but if that doesn't work, we might have to, let's see here. Oh, I feel like I left a lot of peanuts down there. Okay, we're gonna rough up the soil. But here you can see I have some peanuts on this plant. Oh, they look a little immature. Some of them look a little immature. Let's pull one more. Let's do it. Let's rough up the ground first. Well, these look bigger. I'm just kind of coming up from underneath it so that when I pull it, I don't lose the peanuts as I come up. So I believe this guy moved, yeah. Oh, that's better. Yeah, okay. So definitely with the pitchfork. Look how cute they are. I'm just dying. I think it's so adorable. I think it's so funny too. It was actually my goal this year to grow a year's supply of peanuts. And then, you know, as I was getting ready for this video, I was trying to calculate what that would take. I don't know what I was thinking, but unshelled, it would take about 20 pounds of unshelled peanuts to get enough peanut butter for me to have 1 spoonful a day, which is typically what I eat. Ooh, this plant was good. Look at that. Let me shake it off a little bit. Wow, that is a lot of peanuts. But yeah, 22 pounds shelled, or unshelled, sorry. Yeah, I don't think I'm getting that this year. But it's good to have goals, right? It's good to try new things out. And the goal meant that I made progress between last year and this year in growing peanuts. So now I have more and I can probably make some things. My original goal was to grow enough peanuts to make peanut butter for a year, right? That's not gonna happen. But it was also to grow enough peanuts that I could make my own peanut butter and jelly sandwich completely from scratch, right? My own peanuts. I already make my own jelly and jam, and then I make sourdough bread. So making, you know, everything all together, I thought that would be so much fun. I recently did a video. If you didn't catch it, make sure to check it out. It's one of my goals to make a pasta dinner completely from scratch. And so that included the sauce that I've been making for years. And then I also learned how to make pasta, and I learned how to make mozzarella cheese. The pasta, 10 out of 10, would recommend all day long. The mozzarella cheese, only if you like to be frustrated, because man, was that a mission. All right, let's see if it's wiggled free now. Here we go. Wow. Oh, that's a nice one. Oh, I'm so excited. I love the peanuts. I think they do even better outside of a raised bed because they feel like they get restricted by the space. These guys do take up a little bit of space. Trying not to pierce my irrigation lines with this pitchfork. Try to get that up out of the way. Just gonna go gently. There we go. I actually really enjoy growing vegetables and fruits and stuff that are odd. So peanuts is like right up my alley. But there was a time when I grew long grain white rice in my bed. And I loved that. Hated processing them. The processing of peanuts is actually a little bit easier, so that shouldn't be such a bad challenge. But the processing of rice is difficult. Oh, this one has a lot. Look at that. I love it. They look so cute. All right, we only got a little bit left to go here. I'm definitely noticing that the more room that you give each plant, the better off they do. Some of these were a little close together, and so I can see that they didn't produce as much. The one with more sun seems to have done the best. I got these peppers everywhere. Just dropped one. Guess we're gonna do a little pepper harvest while we're here. Okay. Oh, there's a little frog. Now I knew that they were about ready to harvest because the top of the plant was starting to look really rough. That's kind of an indicator that they're ready to be pulled. I probably, based on what I'm seeing, I probably could have left them in there a little bit longer. I've got some full-size peanuts, but I have some peanuts that are a bit smaller too. I think you could let them die out completely. That's definitely an option. Kind of like we do potatoes. I'm seeing peanuts all over the place though. Now that we picked them up, I'm gonna have to sift through this and find all these. Look at this. We're gonna come back and do that. Let's get all the plants out first. But as I was saying, you want the peanut plant to kind of start to die out. And these could definitely be more done and more died out. The tops were starting to die out on me and I was like, okay, that must mean we're ready. But I'm not sure that we were 100% ready. I think we got all the plants. Now, let's dig through and see if we can find them. So that way we don't get any volunteers. Because these will volunteer pretty easily. Oh, yeah. Okay. Find some. There's a lot of open ones. I'm having a feeling that I had squirrels. Because they do love peanuts. They don't really feel like a potato. You're gonna feel it, right? Potato feels hard. These guys just feel like dirt or little pebbles or little rocks. It's not super obvious. If you're worried about starting a plant and you haven't done all the research on it, take it from me that sometimes just growing it and seeing what happens is like some of the best, experience that you can get. Because I mean, you just have to be realistic, be ready that, this is just your learning year and not necessarily your harvest year, because that's what happened to me last year. I did harvest some. I harvested enough to, put up seed for the next year to do this half bed. But this year I'm going to be able to put up more seed. Plus I'm going to actually have some peanuts. And since it's a smaller harvest, I think I'm just going to go with, instead of doing the peanut butter and jelly thing this year, I think I'm just going to go with some boiled peanuts. I saw that online on Twitter. I have a pretty decent following on Twitter, and those folks were telling me about, making boiled peanuts. It's a big thing down here in the South, and I love Cajun boiled peanuts, and which is funny because I don't like spicy food, but I love Cajun boiled peanuts. All right, I'm gonna guess that's about all. But anyway, I think that I'll have enough for Cajun boiled peanuts and enough to save for seed for next year. All right, the next step in our process is we need to lay out our peanuts on this table. So I have some seeds, flower head seeds specifically, and the last round of my black beans that I just haven't shelled because I've been lazy. So we're gonna find these a new home. Hopefully I'll get them taken care of today, since if they find a new home, that means that new home is on my little kitchen table. And if it's on my kitchen table, I gotta do something with it because I can't handle that inside my house. So I can handle it out here. I can be as messy as I want out here. I can't be messy in my house. All right, so let's go find a spot for this. All right, now to process your peanuts or get them to dry, you actually wanna leave them on the plant for a little bit. So we are going to lay them out kind of in a single layer, just so they get some air. Especially the peanut part. The plant isn't as necessary. And we're gonna leave them on the plant like this for probably about a week. And then I'm gonna touch them. Right now they feel kind of moist, so that tells me that they're gonna have a problem. They're not gonna hold that well. And the reason why we're leaving them on the plant is I did some research, and it did look like if you take them off the plant at this stage, they don't dry as easy, and then you end up with mold and stuff. So you just wanna get them to where they're on that first initial dry, and then you can take them off the plant, which I'm thinking is going to be a week, maybe 2. Okay, I think that's about as best I can do. Now we have the ones that are loose, so I'm gonna grab those, and I think I'm gonna put them in a little spot so I don't forget that those are the loose ones and they may not dry well. So I thought about it for a second, and I think I'm gonna use my little organza bags. I use these for covering my tomatoes to keep the leaf foot bugs, stink bugs off my tomatoes, but I have found they're like great for drying things. So if you put them in this little bag, the bag is very airy. And then I'll just hook it onto my pull cage right here and just make sure that it doesn't get rained on. If it gets rained on, I'll move it somewhere else. But this way they can dry hopefully the best possible without being on the plant. Now we're gonna leave these guys on the plant, look how many, for the 1 or 2 weeks that we discussed, and then I will remove just the little peanuts off the plant, off their little spikes, and then I'm gonna lay them on the table or possibly in some more organza bags to dry out for another 2 to 4 weeks. After that, you can do a couple things. You can use them to make peanut butter, and I have done that before. It's actually really fun. I make almond butter, I make peanut butter, it's fun. But you're gonna wanna roast the nuts first, or you could use the raw peanuts and make boiled peanuts, which is, I think, we're gonna see how much this produces in a couple weeks. Make sure to subscribe so that you can see the updates as we move along in the progress. And if you really would like to see how peanut butter's made or boiled peanuts are made, leave it down in the comments of which way you want to go, and I can do that, whatever you guys want. And we're gonna save some for seed for next year, because I'm really hoping to be able to do probably 2 or 3 beds of peanuts, because right now I did half a bed, and I feel like this is enough to maybe get, I don't know, like maybe half a jar of peanut butter. I'm guessing half a jar of peanut butter if I was not gonna save seeds, or a nice big crock pot of boiled peanuts. So I don't know. I'm really excited for this, but I want to grow a lot more, so I'm going to save a good amount of seed. I might save half of these for seed for next year. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today when we pulled our peanuts. If you haven't grown peanuts before and this like totally shocked you, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Happy gardening, you guys.